Welcome to the Weird Interview Show. I'm a weird alien. Today I'm interviewing Naomi Strain and Steve Wilbury, who host the podcast, Laugh, Cry or Die. What were the main reasons for starting a podcast?
I
Uh,
I I personally found that when me and Steve met, we made each other laugh, and we realized that we both had issues, and it really helped me personally to be able to talk about it openly and not have those weird, what you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say. And it was funny and it was meaningful, and other people might get something from that as well.
um, yeah, and it's like when it's kind of the same when Naomi and I met and realized that, oh, this is somebody who I don't have to censor my day-to-day life with. Um, it was really valuable, like for me as well, to have someone that I can be like, oh yeah, no, I was in hospital yesterday. People are like, oh my God, what are you okay? And you're like, no, it's just in hospital. It's like my day. Um, and that was really good. And we made each other laugh a lot. And yeah, we were like, maybe we should make a thing out of it. And we have.
I feel like there's a billion podcasts. How do you stand out from the many podcasts out there?
We're
We
good.
Yeah. Yeah, we're good. And if we can make people laugh as much as we make ourselves laugh, then that's a good thing. Also, we go right into the darkness. I think a lot of people kind of don't go as deep as we do. And we get quite personal on what we're happy to admit about ourselves. Like there's literally no taboo subjects with us. And I think
Mm.
a lot of people kind of shy away from being that blatant about stuff.
I know that someone produces your podcast. Is she a volunteer or did you get funding?
So the producer, I can answer that one. So our producer is my son's best friend's mom. So she was involved in the kind of short film community here in Nelson, and we were talking, and then Naomi and I had recorded a couple kind of pilot episodes, and then the I was like, so we need a producer, Simone. Do you want to do it? And she was like, okay, well, what do you got? And we sent her a couple of pilot episodes, and she just was really into it. She's a volunteer so far. She's helped us get some funding. Um, she's yeah, she just thinks that we're valuable and have something to offer and is like keen to help.
And she's really useful for us because we were finding it so hard to coordinate because two rubbish people when one or the other of us was always broken. And she's really good at messaging us and going, come on, guys, get something, do something, and keeping us on track. That's been really, really
Mm.
cool.
Yeah, most of her emails have the subject line nag, nag, nag.
Are there any super famous people who you would like on your podcast?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, there's a few that I like. That I think Rosie Jones would be really good because I think, yeah, getting comedians on, like sort of well-known comedians would be awesome. So there's Rosie Jones, um, Chris McCausland. He's the blind guy that does a lot of the celebrity panel shows. He's really good. Um, Alex Brooker, who is on the last leg, and he was born without a lot of his limbs. And there's one other person that I thought. Oh, Drew Lynch. He had a traumatic brain injury. He's an American comedian, and he's got a real bad stutter. And yeah, he's really, really funny. I'd love to have him on.
I just want to have Cameron Diaz.
There's me going for, on brand yeah, entertainment, and I'm giving it some thought of who would be, real interesting. You just want to look at a pretty lady.
Yes, all the time. That's me.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point.
If you could bring people back from the dead and have them on your podcast, who would you pick?
Well, for me, I think Helen Keller. There you go. Going back to being on brand, like the first, because that, I mean, God, I'm so not as educated as I should be, but I mean, I learned about her in school, and like, before then, when they would think that deaf and dumb people just weren't conscious almost, or weren't not conscious, but like present thinking beings, and just like that change, I think is really interesting.
Yeah, because that's like a life that you just have no comprehension of what that would be like. Like I can't even imagine how it would be like to live like that. Now, see, that makes my answer sound really crap. That's a really good answer and very well thought. I just want Sean Locke because he makes me laugh so much. And yeah, he's a recent sort of celebrity death that hit quite hard. And yeah, I'd love to have a chat with him because he's a funny bugger.
What about Norm Macdonald? Is he dead? I'm so bad.
I don't know. Yeah, quick Google. Isn't that bad when you're not sure if people are dead or not?
He's dead. He's dead. Yeah. I wish he would come back. He was very funny.
How much work do you do for your podcast that doesn't involve filming?
Oh, so much work. So have no technical skills whatsoever. And for some reason, I've fallen into this role of editor. And at first, it was pretty much just make sure our names are on the screen and the title. And then I've kind of self-taught a few more skills just through free programs. Like I don't subscribe to anything or stuff like that. But to get one episode done takes hours of my week. So like just to edit one episode and to get ready to show just the episode, probably 6 or 7 hours. Then to do the trailer, we'll probably add in 3 hours onto that. And then to get all the snippets for TikTok and YouTube and Facebook Reels, that takes hours. And that's every day, making sure I go in and upload it and add all the hashtags and all that nonsense. And so it's like a part-time job, which for a rubbish person, that's really, really tiring. And I wish we could get the funding to employ an editor. I just want to sit here and talk with Steve for an hour every week. I don't want to have to do all this work, but I am learning a lot of skills from it. I mean, yeah, I'm no genius with it, but I'm learning a lot. But that's a lot of work. Simone does a lot with chasing people for and finding us guests, which is awesome.
Hmm.
Looking at the things like the funding and sort of different events that we possibly get involved with and getting us interviews and stuff, which is great. Uh, Steve, what do you do?
I just show up and talk. I I funnily what's funny is I actually went to film school, and I actually am a qualified editor person, but I have this child that I own. I won him in a raffle uh from my wife's uterus. I don't know if that's funny. I don't know. It's still early.
You made a deposit and won a child.
There we go. That's the
Hey.
one. A deposit to win a child. Um, so I have this child that I won, and I don't have the time because I also have this wife that I won.
Oh,
But
you've made some
Naomi is
bad life
thankfully
choices.
alone.
Yeah, I have no life, and so what else am I supposed to do? Are you trying to say that you'll do me a favor, giving me
Sure.
a purpose?
Well, nobody wants to be with you, so at least if you're in your house occupied, then you're not inflicting yourself
Yeah,
upon
yeah,
society.
valid. Thank you for being so kind and giving me a purpose. I appreciate how thoughtful you are.
I'm a good friend.
Have you gotten any trolls at all?
No, and I would love to have trolls because that's a really fun thing to do. The only sort of real follower contact was when we pretty much first started, and we'd done a few posts, and one girl had messaged that she was feeling really dark and she didn't want to be around anymore. And that was weird because I felt this obligation at that point that I need to contact her and make sure she's all right. Because I think putting this kind of content out when we do talk about, sort of depression and unaliving yourself and that kind of stuff, that who's reached out, we kind of do have that obligation just to go, hey, we're all in this together. And so I messaged her and we had a little bit of a chat, and she was all right. I think we just sort of caught her at a moment where it was at the forefront of her mind. But that was a real interesting interaction.
Well, I mean, I don't think I'm a vacant box of idiocy. No, what I meant to say was that the stuff that we put out, because we are completely unvarnished, the chances of us getting a troll, I think, are few. I don't know, because there's nothing they could say that could wind us up that we haven't said ourselves.
Yeah, true. We're like really self-deprecating. And so it's like, yeah, kind of bring it on, I think. So I think it would take, I don't know, I shouldn't put the challenge out there, but I think it'd be a challenge to offend us. I would like that though. If it got to the point where I was like, Steve, read this message. I'm really upset by what this person said. You'd be like, that's time to then stop doing the podcast if we start getting offended by things. But trolls are fun to play with.
I'm on an interview, Lewis. You're going to have to make your own breakfast.
See, that's the downside to winning a child, is that they do get in the way of your life.
Yes, they do.
What would you say the main issues disabled people have to deal with today?
That's
the main issues disabled people have to deal with.
I think for me personally, because my disability kind of shows itself at surprise moments. It's not like every day I'm trying to achieve something and there's blocks in place. I think prejudgments on what people think I'm capable of, like people think that I'm not going to perhaps learn things as quickly or be able to be dedicated to something because of what's going on with me. But I don't think I face as many challenges, say, as Weird Alien does. I think you'd have that more visible judgment. I'm not sure about Steve. What do you get?
I was gonna the thing with Naomi and I's disabilities is they're like these invisible disabilities. Is it's not I don't have a wheelchair or something that really like signifies like there is something broken inside this meat robot. And that when I'm like, oh, I can't do that thing, people are like, oh, why can't you do that thing? And it's like, well, do you have 45 minutes to sit down and hear my tale? Um, and I think understanding and just like there's a general lack of empathy and understanding in today's modern society.
Yeah. I think it's things like when you have to cancel events, or you know that you're going to be too exhausted, or you just don't turn up because you're in hospital. I think people can sometimes see that as you just being flaky or lazy or, not capable because it's not a visible thing. And so they can sort of prejudge that, yeah, she'll always cancel, which, sometimes I do. I don't play on it. I don't go, oh, yeah, I'm in hospital. I try to avoid playing that card. But I think for us, the difficulties that we face are more the judgment or the expectations as opposed to the physical limitations of getting into places or being able to physically achieve something.
Can you share some stories of people being ignorant in relation to your disability?
Yes. And I was, one time I had to go into the work and income office to prove that I'm, not capable of stuff. And the comment that they made was, oh, yeah, so you just sit around watching TV and waiting for a seizure to happen. And that completely belittled my entire life, basically. It was like, oh, yeah, that's just pure laziness. And I sit around and have a seizure here and there. And she said, oh, so, yeah, what happens when you have a seizure? And I was like, I fall down and, piecing together what people tell me, I kind of shake and do this. And she said, show me. And I was like, what? Show you. And it ended up with me in an open plan office, lying on the floor and demonstrating what a seizure looks like to be able to prove that I needed money. And that was the most demoralizing, like, how do you not understand? How do you not get, how much it affects everything? And another one, when I was in a play and it was in the rehearsals, and a lady who, I didn't particularly know her, she stood next to me and we're doing the warm-ups for the play. And she stood beside me and her arm touched mine. And she shivered and went, oh, look, I've caught epilepsy. And so, just, it's the belittling, like people making that assumption about you. So yeah, they're probably the two occasions where people have blatantly had no idea about what life with epilepsy is like.
I don't have anything quite as blatant as that. That I've called epilepsy joke. That's a joke that I could make. Um,
Exactly. Yeah, you could make that all day long, but somebody who I don't know, it's like, fuck off. But
hmm.
yeah, feel free, Steve. You can go for
Oh no, no, it's someone else has done it. It's not funny enough.
it. Yeah, somebody else's material. Get off.
Um, I haven't had anything like blatantly like to my face, like, oh my God, you're such a faker. Ugh, you suck. I did find out recently though that, well, not recently, but New Zealand is small and the art community here is small, and I was involved in the theater for scene for a little bit. And apparently there was this thing going around that I was really unreliable, that I was like unprofessional, and that I was just like a big pothead. And it's like, well,
Hmm.
I, I have, yeah, I was like, well, the thing is, I really pride myself on my professionality, and that like if there's, I do, I don't know, and it just there were things where I had to cancel or I would just break because I was carrying the entire load of a big production, and I just can't. But I'm a lot better now about not doing things that I know will break me. And also the person that was spreading those rumors is fucked off, so.
Do you think that people in the medical sector deal with disability in a good or bad way?
I think it's really up to the luck of the draw. I think there are good ones and there are bad ones. And there are some good ones that have had bad days and bad ones that have good days. Um, I've had really good successes, and I've had grit my teeth, get through this appointment kind of a thing.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it also depends on who they talk with about you, because it can have one bad doctor who judges you and passes that sort of vibe onto other people, and that affects all your treatment. But then, like you say, when you get a good one, they're absolutely worth their weight. And I think also if you fit into a tidy box, like if you tick all their normal criteria for whatever disability, then you're nice and easy. And they're like, oh yeah, this is what happens with this issue. These are the drugs that work. This is the physiotherapy that will work. And it's nice and clear. Whereas as soon as you've got an extra thing or a different thing, or things aren't quite as clear cut, then the immediate vibe seems to be, well, you're obviously faking. Like there was one of the memes is like on TV in a medical drama, somebody has a mystery illness, and the doctor's like, we must run every test, we've got to do every check, and they're all out on trying to cure it. Whereas in real life, it's like, you sure you're not faking? And so, yeah, I think generally I would say they're pretty good, medical profession, but there are pockets of shite.
Do you feel that disability advocates are effective?
Do we think disability advocates are effective?
Yes, yeah, I think because if one person speaks up, I think nowadays a lot of people are very scared at being what's the word? Like prejudiced or they don't want to get tarred with a bad name. So on the very surface of it, if somebody says, "Oh, I've got an issue," people kind of panic. They don't want the bad name, and so they'll try and fix it in most situations. But it's also because it's quite difficult to fight your own cause. If you hear one person speaking out, it then does encourage you to also speak out, and I think that can snowball the awareness of it.
I think that I think with the rise of social media, there's some great uh, content creators who happen to have disabilities, and I think like that shift is a bit where it's not like the content is like, look at all my disability stuff. It's like, hey, I'm a person. This is also some shit that I have to deal with. And I think I think that changes people's viewpoints for real. There was another guy with cerebral palsy that we interviewed, and they said that after he did a show, someone came, like an older gentleman came up and was like, I will never look at someone with a disability the same way again. And I think if you can flip one person, then I think that's pretty effective. Well, let's start anyway.
Where can people follow you?
On all your major social media platforms.
Everywhere that I can be bothered to upload us. So we do have the YouTube channel, and we've got all the full episodes are on there, as well as all the clips. So that's just Laugh, Cry or Die. We've got a TikTok, which is at Laugh, Cry or Die, on Facebook and Spotify also.
But don't listen on Spotify because they pay shit.
Okay, I just want followers. Followers everywhere. Follow us on you'll get all the same content, but follow us on all the platforms. I'm greedy. I'm like a teenager. I base my ego on TikTok. So yeah, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok and Spotify, and it's all Laugh, Cry or Die.
I would like to thank Naomi and Steve for the interview. People watching can like, comment, share, subscribe and whatever else people do to videos. If you're watching in the future, you can also turn notifications on unless you find them annoying.